a bit of a theme tonight. It started with Kate, and we were talking about being uncomfortable, around your parents, or being uncomfortable with sexual matters.
Yeah.
Your show, Hello Ladies.
Yes.
You talk about some things that are a little raw.
Intimate.
Intimate, thank you. I prefer your word. It's classier. How are your parents with this show? Have your parents seen the show?
Well, they did. They came, and I told them that they couldn't tell me when they were going to come to the show, so they snuck in under cover of darkness. I don't talk entirely about, sex, but I do discuss it, particularly because you may have noticed, a very tall man.
Yes.
And it's incredibly difficult, the lovemaking, when you're 6'7". Yeah, I'm 6'7", which is too big for... Because in the UK, the average lady is 5'4". I know, which is... How tall are you?
I'm about 6'4"-ish, somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. So if you stand up for a second and you look, just come around here. If you lost like 10, if you lost like a foot, if you lost like what? How? If you knelt down, is that like? That's like. Now, that's sort of about 5'4" there, and so. Like, if we were going to make... I would never do it stood up. But, I'm being a bit generous, but, if I wanted to make... I'd have to sort of limbo in, to... You can see the problem? Yeah. You can see the trouble we'd have. It would be... This is some of their...
I wasn't done, so...
Oh, you're right.
Stop trying to usher me out,
That's some people's ultimate fantasy, what just happened.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
I like that. I was a little British lady in that
just for a second,
scenario. I enjoyed that.
The trouble that I have. So, consequently, I talk about that in the show, and my parents did come to see it, and we didn't mention it afterwards. We didn't mention that I talked about sex. That wasn't discussed. We've never... You were mentioning to Kate about you never talk about...
No, we don't talk about those things in my house. No.
I have never discussed sex with my parents. They don't know, as far as I'm concerned, they don't know that I know about it. They didn't tell me the facts of life. It's just never been discussed. And it's one of those problems... I don't know if you ever have this, where, if you're watching a movie that has a sex scene in it with your parents...
With your parents, yes.
It's the most intense... situation. I always try and screen films ahead of time to check that they're safe. We watch a lot of animation, But I remember watching that movie Atonement, that film Atonement, which it was like a classy Oscar winner. I thought there's going to be no filth in this.
Right.
And I'm watching it with my parents, and it's going great, and they're enjoying it, they're loving the movie, and we're just in the living room, and then the two stars, McAvoy and Keira Knightley, go into the library together alone. I'm thinking, here we go. Oh, what's going to happen here?
And you're with your
folks.
With your mother and father.
It's like this. We're me in a chair and them on the couch like this.
All right.
There. And Keira Knightley, and then they start kissing. I'm thinking, just leave now, Keira. Leave. Walk out of the library. There's nothing more to see here.
Yes.
And then they start getting a little intimate, like we just then, and it starts getting... And then the noises start.
Yeah.
And I have this technique. Which is to sort of to comment on something in the movie that shows I'm not in the least bit interested in the sex. Do you know what I mean? So they're in a library, leaning against a bookcase, and they're and I'm just watching. I just went, that is a lovely bookcase. That's a wonderful bookcase. What do you think that's made of? And my dad knew what was happening, and he's like, that looks like a rosewood of some kind, Steve. I'll tell you who's got a bookcase like that, Mum. Do you remember Pete Harris from school? I mean, he's got a house like... He's got a bookcase like that. And at this point, my grandmother walked... I've got an elderly who's 75, and she can barely walk, and she came into the room... And we're there, and it's and just the folks, and she just came in, and she just saw us there, just looked at us, kind of looked at the sex, and just walked out again. Didn't say anything. It was so bizarre.